Because law of attraction is responding to the vibration that is being offered across the board. Everything is vibrating, and law of attraction is responding to everything that is vibrating and matching up those signals. So you get what you think about, whether you want it or not, because when you're thinking about it, you're offering the signal. So law of attraction is matching all of that up. But this is the important part. We're just going to take just a very brief period of time here to help you to understand why you have emotional guidance, why it exists within you, and why it matters so much. So this you that we've been talking about, this eternal you, is a powerful point of attraction. And here you are in your physical body, exploring, knowing what you don't want, knowing what you do want, launching rockets of clarity from your point of view. Preferences, personal, important to you preferences of what you prefer. When someone's rude, you want them to be nicer. When you don't have enough of something you feel that you need, you want more of it. And so each time, whether you speak words about it or not, you have an experience that helps you to clarify. You launch these vibrational emanations, these rockets of desires exude from you, and your inner being, who is standing in your vibrational universe, receives the new request, integrates it immediately into the whole that your inner being is, and becomes that point of attraction. Now here's the important part. Law of attraction then responds to that newly expanded, newly amended point of attraction. Does that make sense to you? The question is, where are you in relationship to that? In other words, someone was mean to you and you launched a rocket of desire to feel better, and your inner being received that and stands there in that much better feeling place as a result of what you've lived. But where are you standing in relationship to that expansion? Usually over here complaining about what happened. Usually over here defending your position and why you feel bad about something. So you are separating yourself, usually not deliberately, usually unconsciously, usually because of lack of focus or lack of discipline, or mostly, we'll just say it to you, lack of really wanting to feel good. Because if you really wanted to feel good, you would by now have trained yourself into finding the thoughts that do feel good. You've got to admit, hatred does not feel good. And yet you accept it as part of life experience because you believe that conditions have to change before your hatred can go away. Fear does not feel good. But you don't let go of it because you believe that that thing that is making you believe that you are afraid, or that thing that is causing the moment of fear, has to change before your fear can subside. And that's what we're wanting you to understand here today. That's living life conditionally. That's needing to control conditions you can't control in order to adjust your vibration to something that feels good. And there is a much easier way of going about it. Not only is it easier, and not only will it keep you in a place of feeling better, but it is essential to being the maintainer. It is essential to being the achiever and then the maintainer of your deliberate vibrational offering. And that's what deliberate creation is. Deliberate creation is understanding law of attraction and understanding your guidance system and understanding your own emotions and then doing something about it when you feel emotion. You're ready for this moment in time? Always a new beginning, isn't it? Each moment is new, not just a new year or a new morning, but a new moment in time, a new combining of thought and energies and being, a new blend of attraction. A new blend of attraction, because it's all about attraction. There's no assertion. So when you come together with anyone in thought or in word or in an experience, in conversation, in co-creation, it's all about you and what's going on with you. And of course, it's about the others and what's going on with them, over which you have no control. Yeah? You have no control. But you have complete control about your contribution to the moment in time blending. The moment in time blending with whoever it is you're talking to, whoever it is you're thinking about, whatever it is you're thinking about. Your contribution matters so much more than all other things put together. And that's what we want to talk with you about today, is what is your moment by moment by moment by moment contribution? When you're interacting with someone else and maybe you're not getting along so well, and your tendency is to want to analyze what they could be doing better, we want you to think about what you could be doing to feel better about this, because you know what? It isn't even about what they're doing or what they're saying or what they're thinking. It's about what you're thinking about what they're thinking. It's about what you have decided to make your vibrational point of rendezvous. Now, law of attraction is doing the rendezvousing. Law of attraction is taking all active vibrations and managing them to perfection. Nothing ever wrong with the way law of attraction is causing the blending, the rendezvousing. But you have control that you don't exercise because you are, we love you so much, more observant than you are caring about what you are offering vibrationally. You let circumstances and events, or even things that you've thought about before, or even things that you've experienced before, dominate the moment in time, so improvements can't happen. Esther caught herself doing that 2 days ago. She has a new house in San Antonio. Lots of new wonderful things in this new house, and still some tweaking things into place. And something was in the process of being tweaked. And Esther has built a lot of houses. She and Jerry built a lot of buildings. And since Jerry hasn't been here in the physical with his hammer, she has built more buildings. In other words, she really likes construction. That's why you're all here in a construction zone. We're not kidding. So Esther is explaining to a man who's trying to adjust something in her new house, and she realized that because she's had experiences like that before, she was having a difficult time just expecting it to go easily along, because she knows how that usually goes. So she wanted to explain to him, you know, my experience has been. And he's looking at her, thinking about what her experience may have been. He trusts her. She's not making things up. But he just wanted to do what needed to be done now. And while he doesn't understand about what Abraham teaches, and he doesn't really understand about law of attraction, and he never has given a thought to vibration or what's active in a moment in time, he was not comfortable with Esther wanting to bring past bad experiences into this moment in time. Why would you do that? Because I'm smart and I have had experiences, and most important, I'm wanting to prevent the next moment from having problems that other moments have had. I'm trying to protect my new moment from things that other moments have had by activating the things that have gone wrong in other moments. Alrighty then. So Esther's catching herself in the middle of it and laughing right out loud at herself and at her tendency to keep telling it like it is, or keep telling it like it has been, instead of just letting each moment be fresh and new and free of obstacles of the past. Well, that made her think all night long about the seeming contradiction of the value of past experience and the knowledge that it gives me, and the freshness of the now, where I don't muck it up with past experiences that I don't want to repeat. How far do you go? How much do you use your past experience in this now moment? And we say, use every past experience that felt triumphant, that felt exhilarating, that felt satisfying, and do not activate any of them that bring into the conversation frustration or worry. That's your rule of thumb. You cannot separate your past from your present, from your future well at all. No one can. You just cannot blur those lines well enough to really be only in the now, because here's now again, here's now again, here's now again. It's now and then it's more. It's now and then it's more. It was then and now it's now and now it's more. This moving through time, this becoming, this evolution is happening very, very rapidly. And so it's normal for you to want what you've learned to be part of the equation. Just don't get carried away with it. And you might ask yourself, this is what Esther came to that night. You might ask yourself, why do I feel a need to say this? Why am I saying it? Why am I saying it? Am I trying to protect my future experience from something unwanted? That's not a good reason. Am I trying to show off? Am I trying to assert my intelligence into the situation? Nothing wrong with that, unless you're intelligent about things you don't want.
It is important for you to recognize that you get to choose. Sometimes as we watch you, we know that you get carried away with a thought. And sometimes the thought that is spoken the most often around you, that becomes the most familiar, even though when you first heard it, it did not feel right. As you allow yourself to hear it longer and longer and longer, you become less and less aware of really how uncomfortable the thought is. You have an expression for that. You say, do the uncomfortable thing long enough and it becomes comfortable. Which sounds to you like it translates out to say, do the resisting thing long enough and the resistance will go away. That's not true. You could do the resisting thing long enough that you numb yourself to the discomfort, because the discomfort feels so normal that you don't notice your guidance system anymore. But you will never do an uncomfortable thing long enough to get into the receiving mode. It just cannot happen. It is vibrationally not possible. It defies the laws of the universe. We're eager to visit with you about anything that is important to you. You will notice as we are moving forward here today that sometimes someone else will ask a question that you've been mulling over even better than you might ask it. And there's an advantage when that happens, because when someone else asks your question from the hot seat, you have a better chance of being in the receiving mode. When you're in the hot seat, you're usually so wrapped up in your question that you cannot fully receive it. Sometimes you can, and sometimes, to the disapproval of others in the audience, we play together long enough that you finally click into the receiving mode. Someone said to us one day, Abraham, I really need you to talk to so-and-so because I can't get through to them. And we said, and you think we have magical powers to defy the laws of the universe? In other words, if somebody's not in the receiving mode, they're not in the receiving mode. They're receiving answers to what they want all day, every day. Source energy is really responding. And so our work as teachers and your work as teachers, or our work as friends or your work as friends, our and your work as those who love others and who want to help them get into the receiving mode of what they are wanting. We are soothers. We are lovers. Because you will never demand someone back into the receiving mode. You will never scold someone into this receiving mode. The way you help someone into the receiving mode is, first and foremost, you must be there. And then from your loving appreciation of who they really are, and your ability to not tell it like it is, and not see it like it is, and not talk about it like it is, but your ability to go to some virtual reality where things are as you know they want it to be, until you've practiced that thought so much that that's how you see them, that's the way you guide your life into something that pleases you.